Hello, I'm Nadezhda Sablina, and today our program will be dedicated to Mayday in Turkey. The first celebration of Mayday in Anatolia was in Ottoman times in Izmir in 1905. Then it was held in Skopje, now in Macedonia, in 1909, and the first celebration in Istanbul of Mayday was in 1910. In 1920, the workers raised the banner of independent Turkey because Anatolia and Istanbul were under occupation. On May Day 1923, a large number of workers in locally owned and foreign-owned factories went on strike. Among the demands of the workers were the confiscation of foreign firms, the official celebration of May Day as a workers' holiday, an 8-hour day, a week's holiday, and the right to strike and organize trade unions. Many workers were jailed at that time. The occupation ended, the imperialist enemy departed, the republic was founded, but the government was no government of the workers. The petty bourgeoisie Kemalist government took over the Ottoman tradition of issuing circulars ordering repression. In 1924, workers wanting to celebrate May Day as the workers' holiday were prevented, and the number of workers who handed out leaflets for an 8-hour working day were jailed. In 1925, celebrations were banned, but up to 1935 they could be held in secret. The petty bourgeoisie Kemalist government did not fail to notice that it was insufficient to ban May Day and jail workers for making demands. So in 1935, it issued a law on the national holiday and general holidays, and this included days off for a spring and flower festival. The first large-scale mass May Day in Turkey was in 1976. There were 400,000 workers in Taksim Square in Istanbul that day. And a year later, there was even more impressive and larger one, and the oligarchy resorted to a massacre on May 1st, 1977. On that day, 500,000 workers came on the Taksim Square. Revolutionaries had undertaken serious preparation for this, holding mass seminars, large meetings explaining the history and significance of the 1st May, and organizing widely in workplaces, universities, colleges, and neighborhoods through posters, banners, and wall writings. When the workers gathered on the square, oligarchy opened fire on them. Then water cannons and armored vehicles drove into the crowd, crushing people and increasing the panic. 34 people were murdered, hundreds were wounded. The organizers of this massacre on the 1st of May 1977 are NATO and its counter-guerrilla units in Turkey. From then on, May Day became red, and May Day at Taksim Square took on even greater significance. Taksim Square came to symbolize that the revolutionaries, the people of Turkey, remember the massacre and demand retribution from the murderers. Taksim Square was no longer any old square, it was the 1st of May Square. After the pro-American fascist junta of September 12, 1980, the front supporters, who said the target is Taksim, ensured it would not be forgotten and others would not to be allowed to forget. In 1989, the blood of the people flowed like in 1977. The blood did not dry in Taksim Square. Henceforth, it had a special significance for followers of the front. In 1996, one of the largest rallies since 1980 took place. About 150,000 workers crowded into Kadıköy Square and came under fire. They gave martyrs, but kept marching. 3 revolutionary workers were murdered. 32 years later, in 2010, hundreds of thousands again filled 1st of May Square, Taksim Square. Over 200,000 worker participants carried out an impressive celebration with great cheerfulness and enthusiasm. 2010 was the victory of front's persistence and revolutionary politics. Hundreds of thousands gave an answer as the proletariat to those who said the proletariat had departed. In a country under conditions of fascism, the largest and most revolutionary Mayday in the world took place. The struggle for Taksim has been one of the important cornerstones of struggle of the revolutionaries in Turkey, uninterrupted revolution. This short history summarizes a great many things. Despite all repressions, massacres, bans, provocations, efforts to suppress this day, despite politics aiming to take away its revolutionary essence and content with demagogy about the holiday of spring, a festival, not a day of conflict, revolutionaries continued to go forward on the road of Mayday. This road is the road of liberation for the peoples of the world, the road of independence against imperialism, democracy against fascism, socialism against exploitation. But not only the bourgeoisie and the oligarchy that has tried to get revolutionaries to turn back from their road. Revolutionaries have also waged a comparable war on reformism and opportunism, the extensions of bourgeois ideology inside the workers' movement. The bourgeoisie wanted May Day to be forgotten. It was not. Then they wanted it to be imprisoned inside meetings halls. Again, it was not. With revolutionaries in the vanguard, the workers went on the streets and Taksim Square. They did not run from clashes. So then, thoughts spread of removing May Day from Taksim, a May Day without clashes and fights. Reformists also wanted to destroy the revolutionary essence of May Day by drawing a thick line between itself and revolutionaries and trying to keep revolutionaries out of May Day. In every situation, reformism, left revolutionaries, and those workers who were trying to preserve the essence of May Day to be attacked by the forces of the oligarchy. They didn't succeed. May Day gained significance through the supporters of the front. The oligarchy and reformism could not distance the front from the workers. In every situation, revolutionaries were the ones who attract more of the masses. It is a betrayal of history not to mark May Day appropriately. It means making people forget history. It means conciliating the proletariat with the bourgeoisie, the oppressed with the oppressor, the exploited with the exploiter. It means accepting the continuation of exploitation and tyranny. But the bourgeoisie cannot get the oppressed to make peace with their oppressor, the exploited with the exploiter, the oppressed peoples with imperialism and the oligarchy. This is a historical and political reality. The class struggle cannot be stopped. This struggle will end with the proletariat removing the bourgeoisie from power and putting it in the trash can of history. The essence of May Day is the struggle for socialism. The essence of Taksim on May Day is the tooth and nail struggle with fascism. It is the struggle of revolution against the system. It is the struggle for rights and freedoms against fascism. It is a war of wills between the peoples of Turkey and the oligarchy. Therefore, despite bans, closures of the square, and fascist propaganda, every year on May Day, revolutionaries marched to Taksim Square confronting the police. Despite arrests, tortures, long-term prison sentences, The revolutionaries hold the banner of the revolution high and refuse to surrender.
Emperyalist saldırılarına, katil NATO'ya karşı bağımsız Türkiye'ye adalet istiyoruz. Direnişler meclisi aramızda hoş geldiniz arkadaşlar.
Çözüm.